Hey, what's up, guys? You're with the PlanetFight Podcast. It is episode 11. We have a lot to talk about. This past weekend, we had a treat of an event, Poirier Hooker. We have a lot to talk about. I had some great fights. Let's dive in.
Yeah. First things first, Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier is probably my favorite fight I've ever watched.
Bro, it's up there.
Yeah.
That second round was nuts, dude.
Yes. When Poirier came out for the third round and started turning it up and like putting the pace, and I was like, how on earth is he doing this? This man ate a knee and a fucking 60 punch combination at the end of the second and decided to just magically turn it around.
Right.
It's unreal.
Third round, he came out fresh.
Yeah. It was so good. Then even like in the fourth round when he was gunning for those submissions, and people will talk about his they're going to call his takedown defense terrible because instead of trying to defend the takedown, he just tried to snatch up a guillotine. But that's just who he is as a fighter. Like he's comfortable enough in his submission game that he feels like he can hunt for those submissions. Right. And you saw it too with the arm bar to the omoplata. Like he torqued Dan Hooker's arm. And then the way Dan Hooker pulled out of that omoplata was just dangerous as fuck. He just decided, like, my shoulder's going to be fucked after this. Here we go. Just wrenched it. You're like, well, that's not good.
Right. Dude, yeah, that was just such an entertaining fight. I mean, Hooker, just off of the eye test, Poirier messed him up, dude.
Yes.
Like, when you see Hooker's eye and his face, and that's just kind of just a testament to Poirier's a dog, man.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
That fifth round really showed who he is as a fighter and how much – because you'll hear some fighters talk about how they have, the deep, dark place in them. Like, I can go to a place that's –
right.
That's – like, I have things in me that are worse than the things that are in you. And when I pull them out, it's going to scare you. Dustin Poirier has that stuff in him, you know? He's the kind of guy that has, that extra drive that a lot of fighters don't. And I'm not sure what exactly it is and what is giving him that drive. But you'll see it in the fifth round after a knockdown, drag-out brawl. He catches a second wind, and he catches that second wind because in his brain, he's doing something to inspire himself, and that inspiration is giving him that bump of energy.
Right.
There's a moment where he blasted Dan Hooker with a right hand, and Dan backed up to the cage, and Justin just starts going like, let's go, dude, come on, let's go. And you're like, yeah, that's scary. Like if a fighter is in the fifth round of a fight where he's eaten so many shots, body shots, counter knees, he's been taken down a handful of times. Like this is a fight that should exhaust both people. And Dustin Poirier manages to get these second wins that are just so fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah. And I agree with DC.
Yeah.
Like DC said he's the second best lightweight in the world. I really think he is.
Dude, Poirier's been in there with the best of them. He has so much experience in 5-round fights and big events at that. And I feel like being in big events like that, and it wasn't like he got dominated in those events. He was in some wars. So I think he's embraced, like you said, that dark place that a lot of fighters talk about. I think he's had to go there a lot of times, even in times he's lost, just to claw his way out of situations he's been in. And I think he has a deep hunger to be back in. Well, he's already in the talks, so I don't want to say the talks of being at a title shot, but I think he wants that title shot again because he looked decent against Khabib. He didn't look bad, but we'll see how that division plays out.
Yeah, I really like following his career because you see how much he learns from his losses. Like with his loss to Conor McGregor, he realized he couldn't be that barnstormer, that dude that just wades through. And then with his loss to Michael Johnson, he realizes he can't just work his way in with head movement. He has to cover it up. And you saw technically how those losses benefited him. And now you see this very well-rounded, very tricky footwork to get inside, ripping punches. It's such a fun style that he's developed because he's had to see what he can incorporate and what he needs to cut. And his loss to Conor McGregor might have been the best thing for him ever because it forced him to realize that this cut to 145 is miserable for me. I don't have any durability. I'm literally I'm a hair's breadth away from getting knocked out most of the time because I don't have any durability. So that move up to 155, and then he just goes on a win streak, and it's crazy. Dustin Poirier at 155 was one of the best decisions for him. And then you see Conor follow suit, and honestly, I want to see that next because I either see that going like two ways. I see Dustin Poirier burning out Conor and finishing him in the late rounds, or I see Dustin Poirier trying to do some switch stance step-ins and Conor just stepping back and cracking him. You know what I mean? Like, but God, that would be a fun one. That's also to sell that one would make
that one a lot. You think DP can get that one back?
I do. I think his chin is just so much better at 155 that it's going to give Conor more trouble finding it as well. He's better at hiding.
Right.
Hiding his chin. He does like the Philly Cage classic, the cover with the shoulder up.
Uh-huh.
It'll be a bit harder for Conor to find it, but where those openings present themselves is Dustin likes to move forward and he doesn't mind eating a shot. Well, that's plays into Conor's hands.
I'm definitely excited to see like what happens with Poirier in that whole lightweight division. Obviously, we have to wait and see what happens with Khabib and Gaethje in September. Correct? That's when that's scheduled. So after that happens, I wonder what they're going to do in the meantime. But whatever they do, I'm okay with it. I'll watch it. But moving on, we had Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall, and this one was kind of interesting because Mike Perry is like the first person I think to do this, but he said he just brought his girlfriend on as his corner, and that was it, and he won.
I love in between rounds. It's like first off, they didn't show us in between the first and the second round. They just cut to commercial.
I know.
I need to see it. You have to show it to me. And then in between the second and third round, she has like ice on the middle of his back, and he's like, "No, put it on my neck." She just moves up to his upper back. He's like, "No, like the back of my head." And she puts it on the top of his head, and then he grabs it and puts it on like the back of his neck. It's so funny. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she's trying so hard just because.
I give her credit.
Like she showed up and did what he wanted her to, you know.
But aside from the theatrics, though,
he looked good. Like the first
wild. I will say he looked wild.
Yes.
He didn't look as crisp as he usually does with his like. Even when he does throw those crazy haymakers, they're usually a little bit tighter, a little bit more crisp. And I actually was watching Chael Sonnen, and he said he thinks that's just a testament to his lack of sparring. Like he probably just didn't spar.
Yeah.
He probably just hit the bag and like did like things himself because he didn't have. And apparently in that, I didn't get a chance to watch the interview afterwards, but apparently after, he said with the money he makes from this fight, he's finding a gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty dope.
It's also funny to think that like that's the reason he had his girlfriend in the corner, because he couldn't afford to pay coaches for this fight.
Right.
Which also, that dude's one of like the most popular fighters that isn't a champion or like a top 5 dude.
Right.
And they're paying him literally fucking dirt money. Like they're not giving him anything.
Exactly.
So like, because you don't pay your fighters enough, this dude had to have his girlfriend corner him for a fight so that he can get enough money to go train with actual fighters. Like, what the fuck is happening here?
Right.
It's embarrassing for the UFC.
I know. I agree.
Yeah. I was worried for him in that first round, though. I love Mike Perry. He's such a character. But in that first round, Gall had a snappy jab and was popping him with it, and then the right was coming too. And then Mike Perry just turned it on. When he was just standing there, Gall was just popping him. And, yeah, he just overwhelmed him with pressure and strength. I don't know what fucking Gall's strength and conditioning program looks like, but you need to hit that shit more, dude. He just got overwhelmed by a stronger opponent, which...
Yeah, well, Mike Perry did look very strong in there, dude. He looked jacked, and then like, even through his, like, when they would, like, grip each other up, he was just so much stronger.
Yeah, because it also, like, the takedowns weren't super technical takedowns. They were bully takedowns. They were I'm going to grab a hold of you and put you down. It wasn't like it was DC level wrestling, or even like fucking, I'm going to say a name that probably no one remembers, like Scott Jorgensen level wrestling. I wasn't even close to that. It's just, it was bullying. He would push him back, straight lines. Gall didn't circle off. Yeah, I mean, I love Mike Perry, but I don't think he has a lot more life in that division. He's talking about moving up to middleweight to fight. I don't like that either. I think I'm worried for his next fight because before he fought Gall, he was getting beat up a lot.
Right.
And to go on, like, who's he going to fight now? Some other fucking young savage has come up that hasn't had.
He wants to fight Till.
That's not a good fight for him. Till just beat like a top 3 middleweight in the world. And Till has a fight with the former champ at middleweight. Like, don't.
Right.
Perry, you're just going to get your nose fucking busted in again. Like,
right.
You're in a career now where you're probably not going to be the champ. Like, pick your fights. Find dudes that are tailor made for you to just smash. That's all you need to do now.
All right, make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Mike Perry, he's a character. We'll see what they do with him. But next fight was Gian Villante versus Maurice Greene.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was interesting because Villante, I think, won most of the fight. Like, it was a good fight, but they were scrapping. And then towards the end, Villante even took him down, was elbowing and busting him up. And then I even sent you a picture today. I was like, what choke is that? Because Greene caught him in that ridiculous choke from what even was he in? What from the bottom?
So it's an inverted arm triangle is what it looks like. It could be something different depending on Greene's grips, but it looks like an inverted arm triangle. And I think it was just because the way to get out of that for Villante is just to pass the mount, pass the side control, do something. But he just didn't move and kind of just accepted that. So I think what happened was Villante was like, oh, he's just trying to squeeze from the bottom. This isn't going to work. I'll just chill, let him burn his arms out, and here we are. And then like 5 seconds later, the squeeze is getting too tight. Villante's just exhausted. He can't breathe. And that's what you get, man. That's what happens when you take a heavyweight fight on like a week and a half notice.
Right.
Yeah, that's rough. Supreme dad bod. Supreme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But that one was crazy. Greene really, like, I mean, he showed some heart there.
Yeah.
And then the next one was Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus.
Yeah.
I think his name was. I didn't get a chance to watch this one that much because I was running around.
Yeah. It's funny because if Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker wouldn't have gone down the way it went down, that fight would have been fight of the night. Those boys scrapped. And somebody scored the third round for Brendan Allen, gave him a 30-27 card, but it doesn't make him – like Daukaus was on his back for the full third – like most of the third round trying to get a submission. But, dude, Brendan Allen, this was a bloody, nasty fight. He split him open with elbows. He came forward. The boys scrapped. It was a really great fight, and I'm kind of excited to watch Brendan Allen fight more. He looks good. And Daukaus looks good as well. It's just it wasn't his night. Maybe next time it will be.
Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose.
Exactly.
The way the sport goes. But, yeah, they're both pretty young guys, right?
Yes, very young.
Yeah, so we'll see more of them. But the next one was crazy. Takashi Sato knocked out Jason Witt.
Yeah.
Forgot his name there for a second.
Yeah. Boy hits hard. Boy hits real hard.
That was right down the pipe, son. That was – you don't get any cleaner than that.
Yeah.
And then I will give Jason Witt some credit. After that big shot, he kept fighting a little bit, and then he just got on top of him and hit him a few more times.
Yeah. And also for Jason as well, I think he took this fight on a pretty short notice. I'm not sure exactly what.
Right.
But Takashi did as well. That's just the nature of getting a fight right now in quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love Japanese fighters. It's just it's a throwback to Pride for me, kind of, sort of. I love their style. I love the way a lot of them fight. I'm happy to see a Japanese fighter with KO power because it's like a throwback to like Takanori Gomi or all these fun, like Kid Yamamoto is another good example. These super fun Japanese fighters that are good sports as well. Like they're fun ones to watch. Yeah, I'm excited for his future. You said he was a welterweight?
Yep, welterweight.
Yeah, I can see growth from him in that division.
He's a big boy for welterweight.
Yeah, for someone that hits that hard too, it's it's scary. It's like the Francis Ngannou effect. Like you can make it out of the round with him maybe. He doesn't hit exactly that hard, but he hits fucking hard, man.
Yeah, dude. That was crazy. It only lasted like 37 seconds.
Yeah. He's under Henry Hooft as well, which if he keeps growing at a high level and like adds tools to his toolbox to find that big punch, you'll see like what I'm imagining is like a Dustin Poirier style where you're with a little bit of change because he is coming into it with that very bouncy Japanese stance where like it's going to be footwork to set up those big bombs, which is going to be very fun to see. I'm excited to watch him more in the future and see how he adds to his striking.
Yeah, dude, this is the first I'm hearing of him, so I'm excited too. You know, I like guys with that one punch knockout power. I like quick knockouts, son. But yeah, dude, that was great. Moving on to the end of the main card with Sean Woodson and Julian Erosa. So we talked about this one a little bit off the air, and you told me how you thought Erosa probably would have been better off if he would have just took him down earlier. And I kind of agree with you. I even rewatched that fight, and I mean, Woodson, I believe, is a former boxer, like a real professional boxer. So I think that would be a pretty damn good plan.
Yeah.
To take him down earlier. But what are your thoughts on that fight?
He snapped the Darson so quick when he had it. You know what I mean? And he wasn't trying to do it before. It seemed like he was just trying to it seemed like Erosa felt like he could eat his shots and just come forward. And then when Woodson hurt him bad with a shot, he was like, oh, let's change this game plan. I'm going to shoot him.
Yeah.
And he was landing good shots. He was chewing up his legs. He was working the body well. But he didn't land a single strike to the head in the first round. That's just – he's – like Woodson was technically controlling him with footwork and these good punches as he was coming in. Like Woodson's rear uppercut to left hook is so pretty.
Right.
But
his boxing was amazing. I was watching. He was slipping punches very well. Like you could tell he was reacting to the punches and slipping them like very. Like he's been doing it for a long time. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a wrestler to start. You know.
Yeah. But towards the end of the fight, you see the pressure start to tire him out a little bit, which as anything will. Like if a guy is continually coming at you, eating every single shot you hit him with, you're going to get tired because you're just going to keep throwing and throwing. And for Erosa, he just had to bite down on his mouthpiece and keep moving forward and hope that happened. It was a great fight, a really fun fight to watch. I'm impressed with both of them. Like they both look so good. Woodson's striking is top tier in that division. I think he's 145. Yeah. He has a lot of life in him, and so does Erosa. Erosa is a dog. Anybody who's willing to walk through the fire is going to do well in the sport, especially with someone who can slap on chokes that fast. And I think for Erosa, maybe a move to a bigger camp where he can fight more experienced dudes. Because I think Woodson's with Henry Hooft in Florida. For Erosa, maybe even like Team Quest would be a fun one for him. I don't know if they're still around actually.
Right.
Someone with like a good wrestling base that is going to help him with his forward pressure because that's where he shined in that fight. And yeah, they both have room to grow. It's going to be fun to watch those two as well. They're so young, so young.
Right. Guys like that end up doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But, so that wraps up the main card. And then we don't have time, unfortunately, today to do the whole prelims, but we will definitely have to talk about Pittsburgh native Khama Worthy. Got the victory over Luis Pena. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty.
Yes.
Did almost everything right, dude, except getting taken down. He let him have control. I forget what round it was. But even on the ground, he looked very comfortable. Bisping kept complimenting him, saying how he was doing all things right. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a good fight to watch. He outstruck him. Pena realized he couldn't strike with him, realized the game plan had to be taking him down, and then ended up getting guillotined, you know? And that's just, I think, a testament to how versatile Khama really is. I mean, he was good. He scrambled well. Did a great job of not like accepting the position. Like he would allow Pena to get a dominant position over him, and then before you knew it, Khama would be on top of him throwing strikes, and then they would both get up and start striking on the feet again. And it was an exciting fight. But I also think, and I'm a little biased because we're Pittsburgh boys, and I want to do good, but I think Khama looked really good that fight. I mean, it was impressive.
I do too. And Luis Pena is so much better than the odds and the rankings. Like they have him unranked. He should be on, I think, a 4-fight win streak in the UFC, except he lost a split decision loss that I thought he won unanimously. Luis Pena is a dog.
Right. He's good.
He's an amazing collegiate wrestler. He trained under DC for 3 years doing wrestling rounds at AKA. You're going to get good. And what it showed was Khama was able to use his high-level striking and his ability to choose his power shots to force bad takedowns from Pena. And when he shot a real bad one, Khama found the neck. And he almost didn't even have to pull guard into it because he caught it so deep, so fast. And Pena panicked, didn't pass, and Khama just cranked down on it and squeezed.
Yeah, dude.
It was a fun fight. I'm excited to watch more Khama fights. Pena's so good. He's not a gatekeeper. Another dude that could make a run for the title in the future. Like, so this was a great litmus test for Khama, and he passed with flying colors.
Bro,
flying colors.
The snap on his punches and his kicks, which I think were those kicks were wearing Pena down. The kicks, he was just smacking them off his body. And Bisping even made a comment saying you can tell the difference in snap in the punches and kicks between Khama and Pena. And Khama's were just like, bop, bop, every single one. And when he hit him, you felt it. Like you could feel it through the TV. And it just wasn't the same when Pena was hitting Khama. Not taking anything away from Pena's striking, because he definitely popped Khama with some great shots. But it was just almost, even on jabs, when Khama would hit him, they just looked so clean, and they popped Pena's head back. And then the fact that he was able to finish him on the ground, like we've been saying, is just like crazy in itself. If I wouldn't have watched that fight or anything at all, and then afterwards you would have asked me how it played out, I would have said either Khama might have got choked out or Khama knocked him out. You know what I mean? That was my predictions before the thing. But I think we're learning more and more about Khama each fight, and like you said, it's exciting. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. That about wraps it up for Planet Fight episode 11. When is the next event, Tuck?
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, we got an event. And what is it?
Fight Island, baby. In July.
Fight Island's in 2 weeks already.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Dude, DC Stipe 3 is in 3 weeks. No, 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay. Well, we are excited. We got a big couple months coming up here in MMA. All the way until September, we got Khabib Gaethje, which is going to be crazy. So a lot of activity in Planet Fight. Follow us on all social media. Facebook, just Planet Fight Podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm Dip.
I'm Tuck.
And we're out.